Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wrasslin City Podcast, episode 8. Yes, 8. That's right. As always, I'm Taylor.
And I'm Ryler.
And man, we have got a lot to get into. As always, we got Raw to cover, we got Smackdown as well to cover. We are just about 35 days, I believe, now from WrestleMania, and you can just feel it in the air. It's getting
Yeah,
closer and closer, and
it's crazy.
man, I
I mean,
cannot.
it's every year around this time, it feels like it's going to be forever away, like in January. But then now we're
Hmm.
already in March, and I just yesterday requested off my day so I could have off WrestleMania. So we're that close to it already. We're just a little over a month away, and it's already WrestleMania time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to get up there and watch the event with you. We'll see if we can make that happen, just like last year.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. That would be awesome.
Because I've got a lot of ideas for that weekend if we are able to get together. Obviously, I want to try to do some reaction videos. I wish we would have done some stuff like that last year, but we weren't even thinking about doing this at that time. But we'll see what we
Yeah.
can do. And
Yeah, yeah, that would be awesome, especially with this mania. It looks like there's a lot that's going to be going on, and we'll cover it, as we go on this week, but a lot of it involving the bloodline. So yeah,
yes,
looking like it's going to be a good show.
yeah, it looks like it. A lot of it is basically about the bloodline or has to do with the bloodline in some capacity. But uh, we can start with Monday Night Raw from Monday night. You didn't get to watch any of this, did you?
No, for Monday this week, I did not. I recapped, I've seen most of the results or whatnot, what was going on, but I didn't get to see any of the matches. I know generally what people were thinking, like some matches, the Imperium and the New Day street fight I heard was really good, but no, I was not able to watch it live.
Yeah, I mean, it was an okay show. It was. I mean, I enjoyed most of it. There were some things that I enjoyed. I actually missed the first 30 minutes of it, because I just lost track of time, and I was looked at my phone, and I was like, oh, it's like 7:22. Monday Night Raw's
Yeah.
on. Let me go tune in. So when Raw kicked off, it was a face off between Nia Jax and Rhea. No, sorry, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. Nia Jax actually gets involved in this, but they had a face off to start off the show. As always, the Dom was actually with Rhea this time, and crowd was giving it to him like they always do. And pretty much they were just, in the ring talking to each other like, I'm going to beat you, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to take your title. And then Nia Jax actually came out and attacked Becky Lynch from behind. And that was that.
Kind of just their
So it looks like
segment.
they're,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with Nia Jax now. Maybe, I have no idea.
I imagine they'll do something like, because I don't see it being a triple threat just because,
Hmm.
Beck or Rhea Ripley defeated Nia Jax, what, just a few days ago, or yeah, a few days ago at this point, less than a week ago at Elimination Chamber. And so I don't see her being added to that, but I do see with how, Raw and SmackDown, the weekly events have been booked in the past, ever since Triple H took over. They do like to add those title matches to main events to add some sort of like an IC title match as the main event or a US title match, something to make the show stand out with the main event. So maybe some sort of yeah, it really depends on how they book her the next few weeks. I could see something like if Nia Jax beats like Becky and Nia, if Nia wins, she takes her spot, and then of course Becky would still win. Or maybe even a rematch, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, and if Nia wins, then it becomes a triple threat. But I definitely see them utilizing her on one of the weekly shows before WrestleMania.
Yeah, and so they have like Nia Jax get involved, and I guess I'll just get into this now because later on in the show, Becky Lynch, no, Liv Morgan, excuse me, I'm getting my names all mixed up today. Liv Morgan actually had a match against Nia Jax, and then Becky Lynch came out during the match and attacked Nia Jax, and Liv Morgan looked kind of pissed at her, and then they had a backstage segment like right after, and Liv Morgan was like just going off on her, telling her like, "Stop trying to make everything about you." So, I mean, it looks like they're trying to do something with Liv Morgan in this feud too.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I'm not really. And you said that was later in the night on Raw. I
yeah,
did. I did not end up seeing that, but yeah, that's. I wonder how that's gonna
I think it
go.
was like I think that was like that was the second to last match on the card, I believe, for that night. It was right before Cody Rhodes and Grayson Waller that night.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So, no, I did not see that part, but that's interesting. They seem to have a lot of storylines right now where there's a bunch of factors in one. I guess it's not just clear cut Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. They're still throwing in Nia Jax, and I guess they're also throwing in Liv Morgan. So maybe a tag match, maybe a triple threat fatal four way. Like I said, I still don't see that happening at WrestleMania, but it'll be a way to spice up the shows beforehand.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. I mean, they could do like a fatal four way, but I don't know. I'd be more on the side of just a one on one match, but that's just me. I'd like to see Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, just one on one.
Yeah, I agree, especially with what's being teased with the IC title. A lot of people are saying that could be like a ladder match, a multiple man type match. It could be, there's a few different matches that have the possibility to be a multi-man or multi-woman person match. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the one. We don't need too many triple threats or fatal four ways. So, yeah, I agree. It should be just a one-on-one.
Yeah, because like you said, I mean, we're possibly looks like we could get a multi-man match for the U.S. title, maybe get a multi-man match for the IC title. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but yeah, I think there don't do too many multi-man or multi-woman matches. I think two should be at least the limit. So we'll
Yeah,
see what they do with
that
that.
would end up like I think it was for I think it was 16. WrestleMania 16 had no singles matches. So I'm hoping it doesn't end up like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
not like to see that.
yeah. Me neither. So after that, Sami Zayn is finally back in the win column. He got a win against Shinsuke Nakamura. He finally got his win that he's desperately needed. I mean, he hasn't won a singles match and feels like forever. I mean, he's lost to Drew, Orton, Nakamura. I think he's lost to Nakamura twice already, but I may be wrong. But he gets the win, and now what's next for Sami Zayn?
Yeah, it feels like with these matches, they're really just like just treading, like just booking him to book him, I guess. It doesn't seem like they have very solid plans for Zayn or Nakamura. And I love Sami Zayn, obviously. I've been a fan of his for a long time. Uh, but seeing
Yeah,
him, he took all these losses, and I was saying this a few weeks back, like okay, like loss after loss after loss, and he finally gets his win. But then, while it's nice as a Zayn fan, it's also like I don't know, Nakamura, he wins these matches, but now it feels like it kind of undoes what he that win that he got last week. So or yeah, win that he got last week. So it all kind of feels like it's yeah, they're not doing anything. Nobody's momentum is going anywhere because I mean, Nakamura beat him last week, but it was with like interference, right? Yeah, with McIntyre hitting interfering and attacking Zayn. So he won due to some shenanigans, stuff, McIntyre interfering. So this week without interference, he lost and Zayn won, but Zayn lost last week. So it's just kind of even. I don't know really what they're doing. Um, yeah, I hope Zayn has a match at WrestleMania as we get closer. Um, maybe for the IC title. I mean, I do know he had that segment with Imperium. At this point, like I said,
Yeah, backstage. Yeah.
yeah, he was having a bunch of segments with different challengers, people that wanted to face him. He also had a segment with
Hmm.
Judgment Day, which we'll go over. That was this week. Um, yeah, but I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looks like they could do like a gauntlet match maybe to figure out Drew. I mean, not Drew. Again, get my names mixed up again. Gunther to figure out his opponent for WrestleMania. But and maybe you could throw like Sami Zayn in there and Nakamura. But I don't know because yeah, after that Nakamura and Sami Zayn match, Sami Zayn was having a like a little promo backstage with one of the interviewers, I think, and Imperium walked up, and then Gunther just kind of like looked at him like from head to toe, and then kind of just like laughed at him and then walked off. So looks like they could possibly throw Sammy in that mix for Gunther, but I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
just
which
wait and
last week
see, I
he
guess.
still had that set, like I said, with Drew McIntyre. So I don't know what they're going to be doing with them, which, I've said for the past few weeks, I don't really think it makes sense because McIntyre has been every time they've come into conflict, they faced each other, had any sort of segment, Drew's always looked like he is head and shoulders above him in the pecking order. So I don't really see it happening at WrestleMania, like him being I still don't think he's going to be added to the world title match, nor do I think he should. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to connect these two, the IC title and his stuff with Drew McIntyre from the previous week. Maybe just a match it on Raw or something the next few weeks again, where Drew McIntyre again beats him, and then we
Yeah,
can move on. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know either, but I mean that wasn't the end for the Judgment for Imperium. I hopefully at some point during this podcast I can get these names right. I don't know what's up with me today, but so after that match, Imperium, they had that segment with Sami Zayn backstage, and then they head to the ring to like just cut a promo, and Gunther's just talking about like how nobody's ever going to beat him. He's just going to go on and become the greatest and longest reigning IC title of all time, which I mean, he pretty much already is. But he said he's just going to hold that title as long as he wants to. And they got the Judgment Day interruption, just like about
Yeah,
everybody else has. So Judgment Day interfere. Go ahead.
no, sorry, it's lagging a little bit. Um, no, I mean, I think it's at least I think it's cool him having all these different segments with Zayn, with Judgment Day. It's not clear who he's gonna face, and I don't know. I like that. I like that uncertainty. There's a lot of different ways they could go with it.
Yeah, Damian Priest pretty much said that he's going to come for the IC title, and Dominic Mysterio said he was going to come for the IC title. And I mean, I love Dom. Like he's one of my favorite parts of the weekly shows now. Just how he like the crowd just treats him, and I mean, he's a cool guy. I mean, I enjoy him, but could you imagine if Dominic Mysterio like somehow like beat Gunther? Like
That
how
would
that
be
crowd would
crazy.
react.
Now, I don't think that's ever going to
Oh my
happen, but that
gosh.
would still be,
No,
yeah,
but
that would be wild if that happened.
I mean, they'd probably like tear the roof off the wherever they're at, or oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, they would go crazy. I mean, they already boo him, out of the stadium basically every single week. So him beating Gunther on top of it, becoming the new Intercontinental Champion, yeah, I think that's just in our dreams. But yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah, and with the Judgment Day, they're tag team champions. Well, Priest and Finn Balor are, and they're out there talking about how they're gonna take the IC title, and the Judgment Day is gonna be dripping in gold. I don't see this. This is where I think that they really need to split up the tag team titles because I don't know. It's
Yeah, they
tag
do
team
have,
titles need to be split up.
and they have plenty of tag teams for both divisions at this point.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know what the individual brand for like each tag team, but I know overall we have the Viking Raiders. Well, I guess he's out right now actually, but Theory and Waller, there's DIY, there's LWO, I mean Judgment Day obviously, and you could make a few different makeshift tag teams and there's probably a few that I'm forgetting right now. Some other,
I mean, you got Imperium,
yeah, Imperium. I mean, there's a lot of options right now.
New Day.
New Day,
Hmm.
yep.
Who? I mean,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
New Day. Yeah.
there's a lot for each division, and it's at the point where you definitely could split them up into separate tag titles now, but I don't know when they're gonna do that. It doesn't look like it's gonna be anytime soon, unfortunately.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll get into this later, but actually, I'll just go ahead and get into it now. Actually, Nick Aldis actually said last night on SmackDown that him and Adam Pearce are going to have a discussion about the future of the tag team title. So hopefully that means that they're going to split them up.
Yeah,
That's what I think is.
it makes you wonder too, because when it comes to like titles that have been joined together, it's usually separated again by another title being introduced. Like I don't there probably has been another situation that I just can't think of off the top of my head where they've joined them together and then just decided to split them up again later, but I mean, like the Universal title, was introduced to do that. The women's title was introduced to fix that. The World Heavyweight title was introduced to fix that. Um, yeah, I don't know if that means they would have a new set of tag titles, but they could just go back to Raw and SmackDown, like some sort of I don't know. I don't know what they would do, honestly, like a gauntlet or something like they did at WrestleMania, well, 16 to decide, I think it was 16 to decide the IC champ and then the European champion, and that's how they separated them. Maybe they could do that. Like
Mhm.
Judgment Day faces, I don't know, New Day for the Raw tag titles, and then the winner goes on to face somebody else for the SmackDown tag titles, and that's how you separate it. But yeah, I would enjoy seeing them be split again.
Yeah, or you could do like what they did last year, WrestleMania. They had the like the showcase tag team match, but you could do that for the tag team champions. Like
Yeah,
do like four
yeah, they
different
could.
teams.
I forgot about that showcase match. Yeah, they definitely
Yeah,
could.
I think they had. I think they did like a men's and a women's. So like, I guess we're talking about the men's tag team titles. You could do that for the women's tag team titles too.
Yeah, yeah, they could.
I will see. So right after that segment, Imperium, um, Vinci and Kaiser would have a street fight against the New Day, and man, this match ruled. And I wish you could have seen this match because I was
Yeah,
like
I wish I
texting
could too.
you there, and I was like, dude, this match is awesome. It started off in the entranceway. I think the New Day were making their way to the ring last, and then Imperium ran down there and attacked them, and Imperium picked up the win after a ton of crazy spots. You had Woods. He did an elbow dive off the top to the outside through a table. I think it was to Vinci, and then they tried to go after Kaiser. Woods, no, Kofi goes up to the top rope, and then Vinci gets back up and pushes him off the top rope onto another table that was set up outside the ring. And then Kaiser would then push Woods into a steel chair that was like propped up in the corner of the ring, like in between like the two turnbuckles. And then he just rolled Woods up and got the win. Really fun match.
Yeah, it sounds
I
like a good
enjoy it
match.
when those two teams go at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like they could definitely be the pairing to put on a good match. It's always nice seeing more out there type of stipulation on Raw. And always for
Hmm.
tag, like for the tag matches, seeing those type of stipulations. I remember, I think it was Usos versus New Day. Um, Maybe it was SummerSlam. I don't remember if it was a SummerSlam or a SmackDown. They had some sort of like a 4th of July type of street fight, I think it was. And it
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
was,
yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, that
it
was on
was
a
a
SmackDown.
yeah, and it was a pretty good match. I like when they throw out those different stipulations just on a random weekly show. And I do think that it was weird though, because we still have two more things to cover for Raw. I think it is a little funny when a street fight like tornado tag is just in the middle of the card. But it's still
Hmm.
I think that just that helps retain viewers. The middle of the show didn't this week have just some boring kind of meaningless match. It had some a street fight between two good tag teams. So yeah, yeah, I think it was a nice addition.
Yeah, because I feel like with Raw, because you have to do 3 hours, and you always want to try to get viewers to stick around for those 3 hours. So I feel like for like each hour they try to add something like really meaningful to each hour, so that way like people can stay tuned in.
Yeah, yeah, I think that is what they do. I think last week they did that with it was JD and R-Truth, which isn't as obviously big, but still some sort of even the mid-card matches have some sort of storyline or reason to watch it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think they're definitely improving it as much as they can improve with 3-hour shows. Those are always kind of hard
Yeah,
in the middle of the card, but they're adding meaning even to the mid-card matches.
yeah. Props to Triple H for that.
Yeah, for sure.
So right after that, Drew McIntyre came down to the ring and he continued to take more shots at CM Punk. He said something about he got hurt. I think he said like at the chamber he like busted his eardrum, and then the doctors told him like you might have to miss WrestleMania. And then he said he told the doctor, "Who do you think I am, CM Punk?"
Yeah, he was a savage during this promo. He continues taking shots at Punk, and I don't it's obviously Punk's not going to compete at WrestleMania, so I don't know. I guess they're just doing it to continue adding to his character, and maybe they'll face it like Backlash or whatever pay-per-views after. But yeah, it's cool seeing it. He's definitely he's a great heel.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would think because Punk's going to be gone for a while, so I think they could do that feud like right around like SummerSlam. I feel like that'd be or right after SummerSlam maybe.
Hmm.
But
Or perhaps even
but
Money
man,
in the
this is
Bank. Yeah, in the future.
yeah. So yeah, I think it'll be like towards like midsummer and summer. I think is when I think is the
Yeah.
timetable when Punk should be back. But this version of Drew McIntyre, like this is the definitive version of Drew McIntyre. I mean, everything is clicking, everything is working. Like the delivery of every line is just like fantastic, and like the character work is by far like some of the best in the business. Because when you think of like Drew McIntyre back in like 20, it was right at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, like he was like one of the biggest baby faces in the company. And he wins the Royal Rumble that year. He's getting ready to go win the world title at WrestleMania in front of 60,000 people, but obviously he didn't get to because of COVID, and he had to win that title in front of nobody. And he pretty much carried the company on his back during the pandemic era too. And after the pandemic era, when they brought the crowds back, he kind of just got like lost in the mix, and he really didn't get it back up to the main event scene until about like right right when Triple H came and took over creative, because that's about the time when he had that match against Reigns at
Hmm.
in Cardiff, Wales, at Clash at the Castle. And he's about to win the world title again, and that's when Solo Sikoa makes his debut, interfering. And then after that, he had a few mid card feuds, and then he went on to feud with Gunther. Couldn't get the job done then, and then at the end of 2023, he's turned heel, and he's just been skyrocketing ever since. Like
Yeah.
this is by far my favorite version of Drew McIntyre, like without a doubt.
I mean, that's hard for me to say because I did love him in 2020. I thought it was awesome when he won the Rumble, but obviously, like you said,
Hmm.
it had happened at a very unfortunate time period when all the pandemic stuff happened. But this was a perfect time for him to turn heel to like reinvigorate, adds a different dimension to his character when he so badly needed it. He was just, yeah, really just in the middle of the card doing nothing. I mean, he had that match with Gunther, but we all were pretty sure that he wasn't going to win that match, and obviously he didn't. Uh, so yeah, we're seeing some of his best work recently for sure. And I think that he will hopefully go on to win the world title. And this will finally be the chance for him to get that WrestleMania moment in front of a crowd. I mean, he did have it against Lesnar in 2020, but yeah, nobody was there. So he didn't really get
Hmm.
that full moment to soak it in and enjoy that moment.
Yeah, and like, because I was so ecstatic when he won that Royal Rumble in 2020, because I was actually supposed to be going to that WrestleMania that year, and I was going to see him win his first world title in front of like 60,000 plus people, but obviously that didn't happen. But he has a shot to do it this year, and I really hope he gets it done this year.
Yeah, I hope he does too.
But so obviously he was taking shots at CM Punk, and then Seth Rollins comes out and he's just talking about the bloodline again. And Drew actually tells Seth like the bloodline like isn't your battle, because Drew's worried that the bloodline could get involved in their match at WrestleMania and cost Drew the title again. And because he says that it's only a matter of time before they come and take the world heavyweight title, and they get more and more power. And the story they seem to be telling here is maybe Seth's like obsession with the bloodline could lead to his downfall.
Yeah, I mean, I could
I
see that
mean,
happening. Rollins has been, obviously heavily involved in this bloodline segment and or storyline. And yeah, I could definitely see it's starting to take priority over his individual rivalry with Drew McIntyre. I could see that happening where he gets too focused on this, and that's what causes him the world title at the end, at WrestleMania. Uh,
mhm.
and that would be some great storytelling. I think and it makes sense too with obviously Reigns being his the person that he turned on. They have a lot of history in the past. So Rollins, it makes sense with him being very involved with this. So yeah, I mean that could very well be another plot twist, another thing that's added to make this storyline even more complicated than it already is.
Yeah. I mean, because with Rollins, like you said, like I mean, it makes sense that like he's like getting involved with the bloodline, but then again, it kind of like I don't know, because I always go back to like what everything would be like if like CM Punk didn't get hurt in the first place, and that's just what I always go back to. But I mean, they're credit to them, to everybody in charge of everything, because man, like these stories are really interesting, and like you got to tune in because you don't like you can't miss like what's going to happen next.
Yeah, they're definitely doing the best that they can do with all that happened because Punk leaving, well, being injured really did cause a huge a huge gap in the storyline plans. Drew McIntyre I don't think would have gotten the same position if it wasn't for Punk being injured. So I think that yeah, with what they're doing, if you didn't know that Punk was injured, you wouldn't even think that this was a change from the original plans because of how just solid it is. All the reasoning and logic makes sense. And it's really making for some must-watch TV for sure.
Yeah, I'm loving every second of it, and I can't wait to see that match at WrestleMania, the Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre match. They're going to tear the house down for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so.
Hopefully, I mean, hopefully the bloodline doesn't get involved, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past them if they did. Because if I had to
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
because if I had to guess, that'll be like night two. But
Yeah, yeah, I imagine.
well, obviously with what happened, what they announced last night, but we'll get into that later. But so the main event for Raw. I'm getting names mixed up, getting the names of the brands mixed up now. But the main event for Raw was Cody Rhodes and Grace Waller, and really nothing too big happened in this match. I mean, it was just in the ring and
Yeah.
pretty quick. But obviously, I feel like they did it quick because obviously what happened after the match. So during the match, they were right about to go to commercial break during the match, and then Michael Cole just like says, "Oh, wait a second, I just got a word that Paul Heyman is in the arena." And then they cut to commercial break, and then they come back from commercial break, and then Cody ends up picking up the win. And, they're playing their music, and then out comes Paul Heyman with what he says is three suspended NYPD officers. I I don't know what that was, but pretty much Paul Heyman, he's out there. He's trying to tell Cody Rhodes that he needs to withdraw his challenge to The Rock, and Cody Rhodes did not take a no for an answer.
Yeah, it's we'll see with these guards or guards, they're in like 5 years we're gonna be like, oh hey, remember when they were on Raw as a just as an extra for a security guard? That happens so much. All
Hmm.
the extras are usually just developmental talent. So yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
was kind of cool to see. Yeah, he like you
Actually,
said.
I
Hmm,
saw. I was gonna say I saw on social media like the other day that apparently one of the security guards was on Tough Enough, like when they had that show like years
yeah.
ago. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw
I
that,
saw
but
that
yeah,
too. Yeah,
oh yeah.
it doesn't, I mean, like I said, doesn't surprise me. In a few years, we'll probably recognize all of them.
Hmm. Yeah. But so yeah, Cody says no, and Paul Heyman tells the security guards to get in the ring, And Cody just decided to lay waste to all the security guards. Man, one of the security guards took a brutal chair shot right to the face, and then ate a Cody crossroads right after.
Yeah, he just, just one of those segments where security guards are all just, I guess, incapable of any sort of offense. So they just get immediately
Yeah.
all beat up. They like, kick him in the gut and then they'll just bend over for like 10 seconds until Cody, finishes beating up all the other ones. And then they get up to take that like chair shot or crossroads or
Hmm.
whatever. So that type of typical segment, he was like, if y'all step another foot or whatever, thou I'll drop all of them. And Cody
Yeah.
will another thing too is during this segment he grabbed a chair, he was sitting in the middle of the ring, and he was like, I'm ready. Like we were all I was able to watch just the end of this show, like the main event and all this happening as like live, and we were talking during this, and we were like, well, obviously now Bloodline's gonna come out or whatever, like Solo or those or Jimmy are gonna come out and beat him up or something. But Cody was like, oh, I'm ready for this Bloodline interference. Like, come on, he had this chair.
Hmm.
So he said, like, if you step another foot forward, I'll drop all these security guards. And Paul Heyman was like, oh, that doesn't count for me, right? And he stepped in, and Cody was like, no. And then he beat all them up,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I thought it
Uh-huh.
was yeah, that was a
Uh,
little funny. I think Paul Heyman was, as always, he's just a gem. He's a national treasure. Uh,
yes.
but
Yes.
it was kind of like I was saying during this. I was like, you can tell the weeks that are kind of just there to further storyline rather than to add something. It felt more just like a filler main event. Like the Waller and Rhodes, that match was quite frankly very boring. He got the win. We all obviously
Yeah.
knew Cody was gonna win this match. And then, yeah, Cody was just like, oh, like he cut some whatever promo, passionate, whatever. He was like, my father basically was he wrestled to like keep the lights on, keep us fed or whatever. And so I'm like doing the same thing and I'm gonna finish my story. Kind of just what he said before. He beat up the security guards.
Hmm.
Heyman after he had two phones. He was calling Reigns on one, calling Rock on the other, and to not make it
Yeah.
or to
Because
make it
yeah.
more obvious, he had the logos on each individual phone.
Yeah.
It's like one was
I was just
Roman
about to
Reigns,
say
one was The
that.
Rock. They're like backstage, like, how can we make it as obvious as we can to the viewer that he's calling Rock and Reigns? I don't know. I thought that was a little funny, but yeah, didn't really add
It
much to what's
sounds
going
like
on already.
because right before he pulled out the two phones, Cody Rhodes says, "The bloodline is not hunting me. I'm hunting the bloodline." And then obviously that's when someone needs to teach Paul Heyman how to because obviously surely he knows that you can add more than one person to a phone call. So
Yeah, yeah, separate call. Like I said, they just had to make that as obvious as they could. I guess he was calling both of them. Well,
yeah, pulls
so
out one
yeah,
phone, call Roman Reigns, and then has to pull out another phone, and that's going to be a
call The
name.
Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be two phone Paul
Yeah,
Heyman.
very whatever way to end Raw, but I imagine next week will be they usually use that formula of one week is a little boring, a little filler, and then the next week's when the crazy, more advanced stuff happens. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully next week they have a more must-see main event. It was okay for what it was, though.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't seen anything yet advertised for Raw next week, but
Yeah, I haven't yet either.
hopefully it's a good one. Because I'm trying to remember if I saw anything that they like advertised during SmackDown last night, but I don't think they did. But that pretty much did it for Monday Night Raw. So we can head over to SmackDown.
Yeah, and
Jeez.
so for this, we will be doing this a little bit out of order because the order was a little bit weird. I guess we'll get to that after. But I guess I guess we can just go ahead and start with what Dakota Kai and Bailey versus the Kabuki Warriors in the tag match.
Mm, yeah. Now I didn't get to see this match, but Dakota Kai turned on Bailey. It happened,
Yeah.
and I had a feeling it was going to happen, but I didn't. I don't know. I was kind of like split. Like maybe Bailey would have somebody on her side. Maybe she will, but it it sure as hell ain't Dakota Kai after what happened last night.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
Dakota Kai is officially against Bailey. She's, officially aligned with the Kabuki Warriors and
Are they
and
still
Io
like
Sky. Huh?
are they still called Damage Control now? Like
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I know now that there's four of them. It very well could be, but I don't think they've given him a official name yet.
okay.
But it just
Well,
adds another to the WrestleMania match, at stacking the odds or stacking the deck against Bailey even more now that Dakota Kai is not with her. So, yeah, it was okay, I guess. I mean, Dakota Kai, she's been out for a while with an injury. I don't know how long she was out
hmm
for, but it was a fair amount of time. So, it's
I think it
nice
was
seeing
like
her
a
just.
almost.
Hmm.
I was gonna say I think she was out for I think about a year. I may be wrong, but yeah,
I
she
know it
was
was a
out for a
long
very long
time.
time.
Yeah.
hmm
So they're throwing
So
her
like,
right back into the shuffle. That's nice to see.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm glad that she isn't getting lost, and like I'm glad that they're keeping her in this and not just throwing her off to the side or anything. Because I mean I'm sort of a fan of Dakota Kai, but you know
Kodakai's, yeah, okay. I mean,
yeah
yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan, but I'd like to see more of her though, just to, you know get more used to her. Because like you
Yeah,
said, like
and just to wrap up
she
the
hasn't done a
storyline
whole
too.
lot.
She
Yeah,
has, she was original member of Damage Control, so it wouldn't really make sense to just pretend like she wasn't. I think it was a good idea for them to add her right back into it.
yeah. I didn't actually have this in my notes, but I guess I could. Braun Breaker actually had a match last night too, and bell rung, hit a spear, bell rings again. It was over. It was
I
like
don't
six.
remember. I forgot who the dude's name was. It was some name with an X. I forgot what his name was. But yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
exactly
I
who it
can't
was.
remember either.
But
hmm
yeah, they really did that man dirty. Like they really,
I mean,
it wasn't the shortest match ever, but it was like what, probably like 6 seconds, 5 seconds. And it was so like
yeah,
the commentators added even more disrespect on top of it because after it ended, they were like, "Oh, let's watch a recap of this entire match." And it was just
yes,
obviously the re
yeah,
bell rung, and when it's the video on YouTube is uploaded, and it's like the beginning of it's them still making their entrance. That's when you know, like, ah, damn, okay, they're really about to get squashed. It gives me like PTSD
hmm
to when they did that for Lesnar and Kingston. I mean, obviously it's not the exact same, but the entrance, one move, and then it was over. It was
yeah.
definition of a squash. But
I mean
yeah,
that guy that he
welcome to
was,
SmackDown.
and yeah, that dude is going to be a huge, huge part of SmackDown for the years to come, and I cannot wait to see him get in a more involved storyline.
Yeah, I
Hopefully,
definitely see that too.
I mean, hopefully they can, find something for him to do at WrestleMania. I mean, that's what I'd like to see. But if I had to
Yeah,
guess,
if
he,
they book him right, he's definitely a future world champion. I don't know if he's going to do much for this Mania, but there's still always time. I mean, especially with it being 2 nights, they could throw together some sort of storyline with this. Hell, perhaps even like, I mean, I could see if Theory and Waller aren't doing much right now. I mean, will cover what's going on later, but no connected very storylines going into WrestleMania. I could see something like that going on. Theory versus Braun Breaker, I think that would be okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you could put him in like the under the giant memorial battle royal and have him win that, but
Yeah, I don't even know if they're doing that this year.
they didn't do it last year, did they? I don't.
They did it on SmackDown,
Okay,
and
yeah,
that was the
that's
one
right,
Bobby
that's right.
Lashley won.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, very
yeah, I forgot all
forgettable
about
though. So I don't know if they're gonna
that.
do it this
Yeah,
Mania.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be I'd be fine with him, and it'd be him like him and Corbin versus
Oh yeah, I
Austin
forgot about
Theory
him and
and Ray.
Corbin. Yeah, they definitely could.
Yeah, we'll see. But hopefully, I mean, I would like to see him at WrestleMania, but I don't. I think he'll be featured more after WrestleMania. If I had to guess, like the first SmackDown or something,
Yeah,
they
definitely.
could add
Once
him
they
into
have
it.
these current storylines out of the way, then they could slide him into the title picture of some sort.
Yeah. So after that, well, I don't know if it was after that, but next, Rey Mysterio finally returned. He helped Carlito beat Santos Escobar in another street fight. That's a second street fight of the week. And this one wasn't as good as the one on Raw. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but I did see that it wasn't as good as the one on Raw, and I didn't enjoy it as much. But yeah, Rey Mysterio's back, and it looks like we could be getting Rey Mysterio versus Santos, or maybe like an LWO versus like what's their names like.
Yeah, I don't know what their names is, but I could definitely see that happening with all them involved.
Hmm.
I think so. That I didn't see the match, but I did see LWO was attacking Carlito after. So Mysterio comes out, he's pretending to still be injured, like he has his crutches, and then once they go to attack him, like they run up the ramp to get him, and Mysterio then is like, like does a reveal he's not injured anymore, so he uses a crutch as the weapon. So. I think it's cool. I think that Rey Mysterio hasn't been booked very well in the past few years. I mean, I guess that's subjective because he was United States champion, I guess he dropped it to
Yeah.
Logan Paul, right? But
Hmm.
he still, even then, he wasn't. Yeah, he just hasn't really been as his momentum just hasn't been as good as it used to be, like in the past, during our childhood, Rey Mysterio was one of the GOATs. I mean, he really was. And so
Hmm.
hopefully this return he can stack up some wins and keep some momentum because yeah, I feel like they haven't been appreciating him as much as they should. I mean, he's only going to wrestle, I would imagine, for a few more years at max. So for
Yeah.
now, they should utilize him good, have him stack up as many wins as he can. And this is a good time to get him back on that even keel. Forget about that less memorable recent run.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they're gonna do the LWO versus I think her name is like Legado or something. I can't remember. I don't know what their name is. It's
Yeah.
something like I don't even know. I'm not I'm just gonna stop trying. But or maybe they could just do like a one-on-one with him and Santos at WrestleMania. But
They
I'm
could,
glad Rey
but
Mysterio is.
yeah, I definitely see it being like a multi-man tag match of some sort.
Or you could do maybe they add the women like Zelina Vega and Elektra Lopez into that somehow, but
Yeah, they
we'll
could.
see. So after that, which was the main event for tonight's SmackDown, Randy Orton beat Austin Theory because and this match was actually set up earlier in the night.
Yeah.
Uh, Theory and Waller were backstage in their locker room, and they were watching the video like on their phone of well, they were watching a video on their phone. Not sure if they really were, but they were supposedly watching a video of Logan Paul hitting Randy Orton with the brass knuckles at the chamber, and they were just like laughing at it. And then Randy Orton like pop appears in the screen,
Hmm.
and he's just kind of like, "Oh yeah, that's so funny!" Ha, ha, ha. And he starts saying like, "You know what would be funny? if one of you guys got in the ring with me and I ripped your head off your shoulders, and and then Grayson Waller was like, "Oh yeah, Austin Theory would love to have a match with you," and then that kind of
Yeah, that
set up
segment was
that.
pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, Randy Orton, man, I love that man to death. He's still entertaining, and
Yeah, he can be really entertaining when he wants to be, for sure.
yeah, and so man, Austin Theory, he's had that crazy sale of the curb stomp at Elimination Chamber, and then he had another crazy sell tonight. But Orton would actually end up beating Theory with the RKO. I can't remember what the move is that Theory was going for. It's where he kind of like goes through the rope.
It's a springboard, or not a springboard. What would it? It's like it's like the move that Adam Page uses. It's the whatever that's called, the lariat, I guess. He jumps through the second rope and does a like front flip type thing, yeah.
Yeah, isn't it like a neck break? Supposed to be like a neck breaker. Like he's
Yeah,
supposed to
I
like,
think that's what it is. Yeah. But yeah, yeah, he did that, and in the middle of it, Orton caught him with the RKO. It looked pretty cool.
hmm
Just another
it was,
RKO to
yeah.
add on to that compilation of like out of nowhere type RKOs. But
hmm
obviously we knew Orton was gonna win. Um, yeah, I mean, it was an okay match. Now, one thing that I did see during this match is that, yeah, if we've learned one thing about Theory, it's that he should not. Him in the top rope just does not work, because he had that
Yeah,
issue where, what was it, Carmelo Hayes, I think it was. He tried doing the Spanish
yeah.
Fly, and they had a very, very scary, like nearly could have been a very severe injury. They both went way too short with the rotation and almost hurt themselves. But this week,
hmm
I think it was, I want to say Orton was going for the superplex, or maybe it was Theory. One of them were going for the superplex, and they went way too short on the, like he didn't bring his back over too much, and they almost landed on their necks. So he had to compensate for it by, I think he like went to the side, and I want to say it looked more like a cutter. Now, don't quote me on that, but all I know is that, yeah, Theory with that top rope, especially the top right one, because it happened in the exact same side
Yeah,
of the ring too.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a little scary. I'm glad he didn't get injured, but yeah, he shouldn't be trying top rope moves anymore.
Yeah, I think I think Orton, I think he was trying to hit a suplex off the top rope to Theory, but I think like they just got their footing wrong. And I think it was Orton. I want to say it was Orton that fell off. And then, Theory just like held on, and then Orton just kind of like flipped him off. I think that's how it went. I really can't remember now,
Yeah,
but
it was very
it was something
obvious
like
that it
that.
was a botch though.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody on social media was saying what you were saying, that man, Theory, I guess Theory should stop going to the top rope, because it's like every time he does now, it's like a near death situation, or I don't want to say that, but
Yeah,
he
yeah,
could
he could have gotten
seriously get
injured.
hurt.
Yeah.
Scary, scary stuff. But I guess we can get to the main event of this segment for this podcast. It wasn't the main event for the show, and I would assume, I mean, this segment, it's the Roman Reigns and Rock segment, obviously, but if I had to guess that they did this first, is because this segment went on like 31 minutes. So I feel
Yeah.
like they did
Yeah.
this so like everything that happened before, if they wanted to add that front, they didn't have to feel like they were having to like rush all the other segments just to get to this one. So that's why I think they did started this off first. But so Roman Reigns came out first, and he does his says the city that he's in, and says, "Acknowledge me." And then he just kind of like stands there for a little bit, and he says, uh the pop used to be a little bit louder, so let's try this again. And he tries a second time. He says, "Acknowledge me," for a second time. gets a pop, but apparently it wasn't good enough. And then he says, "All right, I'll do it one more time. If you guys aren't loud this time, I'm leaving. You guys had your chance. I'm done." So he does it again, and apparently they weren't loud enough for him third time. So then he tries to leave, and then Paul Heyman stops him and says, "You can't leave. We got business to take care of. The Rock's about to come out." And dude, Roman Reigns looked he looked pretty pissed off when Paul Heyman told him that. I mean, he looks like he's kind of getting annoyed with The Rock and kind of jealous that The Rock's kind of taking on that role as the higher chief.
Yeah, they're definitely adding some tension between them going into this, which is, well, I think what they need to do. I mean, there's a obvious power struggle between them, and even with Rock as a heel, he still is to his core of his character, he is still the center of attention. I mean, I don't know if like egomaniac would be the right word, but he's the person. So when it's him and then he returns against and with Roman being the top of the division, he's always been booked recently now as, the tribal chief. So it
Hmm.
makes sense for them to have that power struggle. They're still I like when they do stuff like this and they turn somebody heel and it's not it makes logical sense. Rock didn't just become an ass kisser and it's just like, oh, you're the tribal chief. I acknowledge you, which sort of did. We'll talk about that at the end. But he doesn't just completely like submit to him, I guess.
Hmm.
He still shows his core character traits. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So after that, The Rock he comes out and he starts roasting the Arizona crowd. He says he starts telling the crowd some facts about Phoenix and says that Phoenix is the number one city for cocaine and meth users. he he then he starts talking about something like I can't remember exactly what it was, but he starts talking about how like Cody wants him. And then he says something like, just like every woman in this arena wants The Rock. And then he starts saying that like none of you are ready for the 22, like I can't remember what he said, like 22 inches of heaven or something like that. I can't remember. Then he started
Just
saying
doing
like
the
he wasn't
typical
talking
rock
about,
shtick. Yeah.
yeah. And he said he wasn't talking about his he called it his Johnson, but he he's doing his typical Hollywood heel shtick. So more more good stuff from him there for that. But he obviously he declines the one-on-one challenge for The Rock, but he decides to lay a challenge of his own, and it's actually what we've been thinking was going to happen for ever since ever since that SmackDown and right after the Royal Rumble, or the press conference actually. And The Rock challenges Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins to a tag team match at WrestleMania between him and Roman. And he says that if Cody and Rollins win, then the match between Cody and Roman will be bloodline free, barred from ringside. And but obviously there's a but in everything when it comes to this kind of stuff. He says that if the Rock, he says if and when the Rock and Roman win, then the match between Cody and Roman will be bloodline rules, anything goes. And then he starts talking about like the Rock said that he'll like sit on commentary next to Michael Cole. He says that you could have Jimmy Uso be the special guest referee. You could have like Solo Sikoa like sing the national anthem for that night, and then they point the camera to Solo, and then Solo's like, he's like, yeah, Solo has an amazing voice, and you can't tell, but he's actually happy. And then he just kind of like sitting there, like with a
His
straight face,
typical,
his
yeah,
arms crossed. Yeah,
yeah,
just kind of. It looked like he was about to break character because he was standing there and he kind of had to like put his hand over his face. So it looked like he was trying to stop himself from breaking character.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean, Solo looked like he was kind of annoyed too of The Rock being there. But I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
that's what I got from that. He looked pretty annoyed.
yeah. And this, I mean, like you said, this segment was very long. I don't know what the exact time was, but I think it was nearly 30 minutes. Um,
Yeah, I think it was like
yeah,
31 minutes. 31 minutes.
yeah, and apparently people backstage it was supposed to be way shorter, but The Rock just, did his thing, and that's why a lot of matches, as a result, had to be cut down. I think that's why Braun Breaker's match was only one move. They kind of just had to cut out some minutes, find some ways to shave it down. Yeah, because this was a
Hmm.
very long segment. Uh, yeah, he had that, and then it ended. So The Rock was in the middle. He was, I guess, finishing up his speech. He was doing the his typical "if you smell," and the middle of that, Roman Reigns interrupted him, and that's like a, ooh, damn, adding some
Hmm.
more tension, making that power struggle so much more. You could sense the tension between them now, and he, yeah, told The
Yeah,
Rock to
yeah.
acknowledge him. And The Rock ended up saying, I acknowledge you. And you could see though that he did it wasn't just a straight up like he didn't just say it took some hesitation. Uh so you could
Hmm.
tell that he wasn't adamant on saying it, but yes, he did ultimately say that he acknowledges his tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and then they did their like, their little handshake and then they hugged. And then after that, he finally gets to the if you smell, and then he hands the mic over to Roman, and then Roman finishes it off with what the bloodline is cooking. And once again, they all do their little pose,
Yeah.
and that's what The Rock does.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I didn't see this at first, but if you like go back and look at it, I think I sent this to you. Paul
Yeah.
Heyman was like he looks like he looks like he isn't too sure about all this.
Yeah, he looks like he's
I don't
suspecting
know.
something for sure.
Yeah, Paul Heyman definitely. It feels like he knows something is up here, and we've talked about it too. Like I feel like there's something going on here too, but I
Yeah,
feel like I honestly I really feel like The Rock's playing double agent, and he's
I think so too.
doing a damn good job of
They're adding
go
more
ahead.
hinting to it for sure. The, this
Hmm.
this storyline just has so many layers going on with it. It's really crazy how so WrestleMania of last year, Cody Rhodes, obviously he won the Rumble last year. They hyped it up like usual, but I honestly couldn't tell you much that happened go leading up to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I mean, I remember obviously the Sami Zayn stuff was the main thing, and then that all culminated at Elimination Chamber. But I don't remember many memorable segments that happened between the Chamber and WrestleMania for Rhodes and Reigns. This year though, it's crazy. It's every week some build up. I think for years to come, we're going to remember these segments where The Rock returned, he turned
Hmm.
heel, he joined the bloodline. The WrestleMania press conference that happened a few weeks ago. Uh, yeah, and they're just continuing adding on top of it. This is looking like it's going to be a great storyline that's going to hopefully it's going to culminate, have some good payoff.
Yeah, and man, it's going to be insane. I cannot wait to see where they go with this. But Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are apparently going to give their answer to their challenge next week on SmackDown. Uh, so
On
obviously,
SmackDown, yeah.
obviously,
They're
yeah, the Rock.
what if they were just like, no, no, that's not happening.
I mean, so yeah, it looks like. Uh, I mean, I think. I mean, obviously, they're going to say yes, and it looks like we've got our night one and night two main events. Got that tag team match, and then for the night one main event, and then you've got Rockin', Cody and Roman night two.
Yeah,
I
I
cannot, I
so
can't get my names right for this podcast.
I
Oh my
do
goodness.
think that these will be interesting matches. I think that night two will be very unpredictable with the Rollins match and the Reigns and Cody match. But as a pretty long time wrestling fan, I do think you start to pick up on these certain things that happen in wrestling, and I'm just kind of thinking in the back of my head that like since The Rock had this, so the tag match is official, or it's not official, but it is official.
Mm,
It's gonna happen in night one, and based on these stipulations, like if they win, it's gonna be the Bloodline rules, and if Cody and Rollins win, it's just gonna be a normal one-on-one. Well, they wouldn't just talk about these bloodline rules if it's not going to happen. I really don't see them just being like, oh, now it's just a normal one-on-one match. It's going to be bloodline rules. So now it's kind of predictable that Rock and Reigns are going to win. So yeah, I think that's just something I picked up on that they're not going to make it a one-on-one match. If they wouldn't mention a whole bloodline rules and then not use it. So yeah, I kind of already know how that's going to end. Now, how they get to that ending is what's going to be up for debate for sure.
okay, I just thought of this. What if they do that tag team match and then Cody and Rollins win. And obviously, if they win, like the bloodline's like barred from ringside. But what if they do that and they still go out, or like The Rock goes out to ringside and he turns on Roman instead?
He turns on Roman, but they're barred from ringside. He wouldn't be able to go out. That'd be a DQ, right?
Well, I mean, well, yeah, but I feel like if it had to do with like Cody, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because I'm thinking like you could. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, dude. This is just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we'll see when it comes to who's getting pinned or whatnot, but I would probably feel comfortable betting money on the fact that Roman Reigns and Rock are going to win this tag match. They wouldn't just bring up bloodline rules and then not do it. So I think that they're gonna win, but I still think that
Well,
it's
but then
a
again,
you said
I was gonna
what?
say, but then again, like The Rock, like he always talks about how he has all this power. He could use his power to like somehow like
Leverage
get
it,
to the
yeah.
ring, but instead, yeah, but instead of like costing Cody, he turns on Roman.
Yeah, I mean they could. There's a lot of ways the storyline can go. Like I said, there's a bunch of layers to it.
Yeah, because he mentioned that during that segment actually that he was going to use everything in his power to again he was going to use everything in his power to keep Cody from winning the title, and then the crowd started chanting Triple H because he started saying
Yeah.
that like nobody has more power than he does, and then that's when the crowd started like chanting Triple H. So I don't know. I mean, I could see them doing the Bloodline rules for night two, but I don't know who. But I think my issue is like who would take the pin. because like honestly, like none of them should take the pin. But if it had to be someone, I would think it'd have to be like Rollins. Is who I think would have to take the pin because I don't think you'd want Cody to take the pin night two or night one, but I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the ending is for sure. From these early predictions, I actually could imagine Cody taking the pin because it makes it stacks the odds. Like it would make Reigns go even more confident into the main event the next night, thinking that has his he still has it, like they would either do
Hmm.
Rollins getting pinned, which I could see too, but I could see if they're gonna do anything else, I could see them doing a similar ending to 39. Reigns hits the spear, he pins Cody, and then that in night two, they're like, oh, he just pinned him the night before. He just needs to do it now, and now they have interference, so Bloodline could still come out. And then at night two, then they do that exact same ending spot. Rhodes kicks out of it that night, and then that's how they culminate everything. I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see that too. It's just like there's so many directions like this thing could go.
For
It's,
sure. Yeah.
I mean, so many. I mean, they can go left, right. I mean, I don't know, but I can't wait to see how it all plays out. 35
Yep.
days.
I
That's
look
all we
forward to
got. 35
WrestleMania as
days.
well. Yeah, we're not far away at
Dude, I
all.
can no, not at all. And like I said at the beginning, hopefully we can get together again this year to watch it because watching events with friends is
Yeah,
you
it's
know
great being able to
you have to
see,
do it.
especially for WrestleMania. Yeah.
Hmm. It
Yeah, hopefully.
is. But yeah, so I think that pretty much does it for this episode. Anything else you want to add or say?
Nope, I think we just about covered everything pretty thoroughly. I'm excited to see what they do next week.
Yeah, I am too. I'm hoping I decided to sit outside today. It's a nice day here in southern South Alabama, so I'm hoping all these birds chirping didn't mess with my audio too much, but we'll
Not
see.
really. Yeah, it should be good.
Okay, that's good then. But we're on the road to WrestleMania. It's getting crazier every week. We hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit that bell so you don't miss a video. Like, comment, share, be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.